Hello, hello. I'm gonna see if this is working. Okay. So let me know if this works. Yeah, because I'm going to present to you my the paper of today, or like of this week, Imperial Landscapes, written by W.G.J. Mitchell in 1994, and it's a chapter out of the book A Landscape and Power that he also published. Um, let's see, how can I go? Ah, yeah. Talking about the author, W.G.J. Mitchell. He's a professor of English and art history at the University of Chicago. And he is one of the pioneers of the picture theory. And as you can see, like other works include the book itself, Picture Theory, Iconology, and What Do Pictures Want? And he focuses on media theory and visual culture, and he draws like iconology. So he studies the power of images across media, and so it's no wonder why he also focuses in this text on the image of landscape. In this case, the landscape painting in the first beginning. But his statements highlight that landscape is actually not a genre of art, but a medium. And what he means by this is that it's like a landscape is not only an aesthetic object to be observed or depicted, but it actively interacts with and shapes societies, ideologies, and power structures that exist within and around it. And so it's like a dynamic environment. Um, the landscape serves as like a medium through which these complex interactions are expressed. So they're not passive but like active parts of constructing these ideas. And he's also challenging the idea that, like, he's saying that there's like since a long time, and also like still today, there's like this Eurocentric view on landscape discourse, so like on landscape discussions, and even like the idea that the genre of landscape paintings originated in Europe is a false statement, because there have been much older traditions and cultures and countries that have been practicing arts like landscape painting, or like that have had discourses about their native landscapes way before the Europeans did. And so, like on the right side, that's like an example of the Donjuan Mountain Hall, like a Chinese painting in the 10th century, so like around 900s. Um, so he's challenging this idea that I will talk about this later on. And so there's like a strong connection between landscape imperialism, or like the idea of importing or like exporting the idea of a beautiful landscape, or like what is supposed to be a landscape, from one country to another one. Um, Talking about imperialism, to give like a broad, like a little definition. So imperialism describes the extension of one country's power and influence outwards. So like by territorial acquisitions, or by extending political and economic control over other areas. And it's about like controlling resources, trading routes, or seeking dominance over regions and people. And in a sense, colonialism is the physical manifestation of imperialism. So the act of moving people from your own country and like move them to a different territory, a different country outside of your own borders, where they then start to colonize this new territory, like this foreign country. And on the right side, that's like an illustration, the Rhodos Colossus from 1982, and that's like talking about Sissi Rhodes, and his plan to build the railway across Africa, connecting Cape Town and Cairo, aiming to extend the influence of the British Empire. Mhm. Okay. Going back to the idea of landscape, he describes the landscape as sacred silent languages, and he's stating that landscapes as a medium is like a medium of cultural expression and communication. And by this, he's saying that the way its culture is forming a landscape can tell you a lot about the society and its values, and their relation, for example, to natural features, if they're dominating nature, or if they're allowing wilderness, or like natural processes, and if they're like the way they are engaging with these. And it's also like a tool of communication by communicating its history, land use, or like also talking about the layers of a city and memorial. So you can read a landscape and it can tell you different things. He's also saying that landscape is both a commodity with a specific price and a symbol beyond price. Saying that there's a landscape, you can give a landscape a real estate value. So like buying property, for example, and like you have a property near to a lake or like a mountain that's suddenly worth more than having a building right next to a dumpster or right next to like a different building. And so there's like a certain price that you can give a landscape, and also the way that you can buy tickets or like to different destinations or like to do these tours to see these landscapes, the Alps, the Rocky Mountains, Hawaii or New Zealand, you name it. But at the same time, so you can give a price to this, but at the same time, it's a source of pure and inexhaustible spiritual value. And by this, he's trying to say that no matter how much money you pay, like for example, also the resources of a landscape. For example, you can extract valuable minerals or like you can cut down a forest and to gain value. And at some point, like this value is going to be diminished, or like there won't be, for example, like monetary value in a certain landscape anymore if there's like the resources have been exploited. But at the same time, there is it's like it has like a spiritual value that you can't give a price. For example, you can look and like take pictures of the Rocky Mountains or like look and like be in the landscapes of New Zealand, and it doesn't matter like how often or like how long you are there, or like how many people actually come there and take these pictures. It's a resource that is unlimited, so it's like yeah, it's a never-ending resource basically, and to just like enjoy, for example, the landscape. And in a way, it's also like mediating between the human and the non-human. So it's like a place where the human and the non-human come together and interact. And in this interaction, the landscape is a tool of imperialism, as he describes it, because the human is able to put its human values of like culture and civilization onto a natural space by dominating it and by like organizing it, by structuring it, and by giving it like a human purpose, like a productive human purpose, for example. So it's like extending the human force onto the landscape. And there's also like an internal colonization of the home landscape. And by this, he's referring to the idea that you can create like a sense of patriotism of the homeland, of your like personal, like of your yeah, like the landscape that you grew up in. And for example, that has been used also like during the Nazi regime back in Germany when they were like strongly advocating for the German landscape, for example, which has to be protected from the enemies that are trying to destroy, like occupy these territories, and at the same time, you give this like a higher value um, than like other countries. So, for example, in Germany, they were actually talking about how the German landscape needs to be spread like onto enemy territory to make it more valuable, to make it more, yeah, to make it worth more. So, like in this sense, like landscape or territory is used as a tool to justify these things. Okay, this slide is more like of an extra thingy, because he is also talking about how like imperial like landscapes can be like used as for like imperialization. How do you call this? Imperial landscapes. And he talked about like how you can also export the idea of like what is supposed to be beautiful, or like what is supposed to be a beautiful landscape can also be exported from one country and like forced onto like another country, like civilization. And these three examples I picked by myself, because that was the first thing that came to my mind. So you're looking at like three different houses and three different gardens in three different continents, even like Australia, United Kingdom, and the USA. But at the same time, you're looking at basically the same image. You have like this suburban house with perfectly cut lawn, and you have like these ornamented trees and bushes, everything like organized, structured, well cut, and it's like an exported good that the UK or like colonizers brought to their colonies this idea of like what a garden is supposed to look like. And I mean, before the British Empire came to conquer these lands, like nothing like this existed before. Like in the USA or like in Australia, you didn't even have like the native people there had no need for like a perfectly cut lawn because it's like, yeah, it's like useless in a way. It's just like a form of um how do you say to oh my god, I forgot the name. um Status symbol. Yeah, status symbol. Yeah, exactly. And so this idea, but like also other ideas of like what is supposed to be like a beautiful landscape, has been forced onto different cultures and especially native cultures or like native lands. And he's giving one case study in New Zealand, and he's saying that like the country has been torn like since it's been colonized by Europeans. It has been torn between European conventions and its own identity, like its strong natural identity, but also like its identity in relation to its native inhabitants, the Maori. And it's talking about how the New Zealand has been influenced, or like the identity of New Zealand has been influenced through Western art. And through Western art, there has been like erasure of indigenous perspectives. And what he's saying, like down there, you have two pictures that he was talking about, and there are two pictures depicting the Maori in like a landscape of New Zealand. Um, and these images, they contain landscapes from that country, and it contains images of these people. But at the same time, it's a Western landscape painting, and it is we see this world or like this country through the eyes of a Western painter who has purposefully like chosen the framing and like has chosen or like already made the judgment of what is considered beautiful and what is considered important and what like also the way the picture has been arranged. So in a way, it's like we are not seeing the country through the eyes of the actual people who lived there for so many years before, but we are only perceiving the beauty of like this landscape through the eyes of the Western world. And this like the experience or like the perspective of the Maori has been lost, and we don't know, or like we like for a long time we didn't see how they value their land or like what was important to them. And so it's talking about like colonizing indigenous lands also through the way that maybe now even they consider this land to be like beautiful through like Western ideas. And then the second case study, he's talking about Israel and Palestine, and I think that's really interesting because he wrote that in 1994, but it couldn't be more up to date and with recent news and what is going on. And here he's talking about how this holy landscape has been scarred due to war, excavation, and displacement for like hundreds and thousands of years, and yet it is always depicted as like a desert pastoral. So he's referring to the idea that it's like you have these beautiful postcards of like the oasis and palm trees and these beautiful like the lakes and these beautiful cities, um, and we're just trying to conceal the fact that this has been a territory that has been contested forever, like, and it has it's a way that it's like this landscape or this territory that different religions claim ownership of is used to justify and hide and naturalize violence. So in a way, like different religions through the ages have claimed that this land belongs to them, and this territory has led them to or has justified these wars. And at the same time, um, it's trying to conceal like the damage or like the cruelty, basically, that is happening here. And he had a like really beautiful quote where he said, "The Holy Land is a palimpsest of scar tissue, a paradise that has been despoiled by conquering empires more often than any other region on Earth. And then, yeah, finally, like we have reached the last slide, I think. So, like a little summary. Maybe what you can take out of this is like landscapes serve as active agents in the construction of ideologies. So, to create, yeah, the like idea that maybe like different parts need to be conquered, or like that different things needs to be like yeah, like used for like one country's specific goals. And there have been like imported conventions and colonial representations that shape landscapes worldwide, in particular like westernized ideologies that have been forced on other territories. And landscapes can be manipulated for political purposes, as we just talked about. And so for us, it's important that we have a nuanced approach to landscape appreciation, which is crucial for understanding their complex relationships with power and place. Thank you.